Russia's relationship with Serbia, a state in the heart of the contentious Balkans, will almost certainly be leveraged to imperil European security for the foreseeable future. Serbian President Aleksander Vučić, a former Europhilic parliamentarian turned autocratic leader, continues to advance Russia's destabilizing efforts in the region. Russia's close relationship with Serbia allows for the Kremlin to develop ties with the nationalist Serbian diaspora throughout the Balkans to destabilize Kosovo, Bosnia, Montenegro, and other pro-Western states in the region. Following the violent breakup of Yugoslavia in the 1990s, millions of Serbs found themselves in the states which emerged from the conflict. As a result, sectarian divisions still plague the region and guide Belgrade's foreign policy. Belgrade continues to claim Kosovo as a part of Serbia, citing a historical claim to the land and the illegitimacy of Prishtina's unilateral declaration of independence. Russia, leveraging deep cultural ties with Serbia, provides Belgrade vital diplomatic and rhetorical support on territorial issues. In exchange, Serbia acts as a Russian Trojan horse in the Balkans to facilitate the spread of Russian influence amongst the Serbian diaspora in the Balkans. To Serbia's west, Russia maintains a robust relationship with Milorad Dodik, the Serbian member of Bosnia's presidency. With Russian support, Dodik and Bosnia's autonomous Republika Srpska entity are establishing regional governing institutions that rival Bosnia's. These institutions range from a state-level judiciary to the reconstitution of the Republika Srpska armed forces. Milorad Dodik, the man from America's blacklist, said on June 6 that Republika Srpska intends to secede from Bosnia. In response, Germany announced in early June this year that it will deploy troops to Bosnia for the first time in a decade, citing resurgent instability emanating from the tense situation in the country. Dodik's threats continue to destabilize Bosnia and delay the country's accession into Western institutions, to the delight of Russia. Dodik met with Russian President Vladimir Putin on June 18 to reaffirm Republika Srpska's desire to deepen economic cooperation and to combat Western sanctions against Russia. At this meeting, Putin expressed his appreciation of Dodik's efforts to prevent Bosnia from complying with Western sanctions stemming from the Ukraine war. Russia's support for the Serbian diaspora extends into Kosovo and continues to delay a resolution to the Serbian-Kosovo dispute. This dispute is incredibly important for Russia's current cadre of foreign policy leaders. For Putin and his ilk, the secession of Kosovo from Serbia isn't a reflection of the Kosovo people's will, but rather a cynical effort by the NATO to destroy Serbia, a Russian ally. Additionally, Putin cites the West's supposed disregard for international law on the Kosovo issue to deflect from Russia's malign activities in the former Soviet Union. In a televised interview on the 15th of May, Vučić rejected joining EU sanctions, disappointing many EU circles engaged in policy toward the region. On the 29th of May, even as EU leaders were meeting to try to agree on ratcheting up energy-related sanctions with an embargo on Russian oil shipments. Vučić clinched a new 3-year gas supply contract in a telephone call with Putin. Kosovo Serbs blocked key roads on July 31 in North Kosovo to protest Prishtina's attempt to force them to replace their Serbian license plates with the Kosovo equivalent. Pristina is sensitive about Kosovo Serbs' use of Serbian license plates, as it is a reflection of the Serbian population's refusal to legitimize Kosovo's statehood. As a result of the Kosovo Serbs' protests, Kosovo Serbs and Kosovo police engaged in a tense standoff on July 31st, which ultimately led to exchanges of gunfire. In response to the heightened ethnic tensions in Kosovo, Serbian officials threatened to retaliate if the Kosovo government continues to act against the Kosovo Serbs. Vladimir Đukanović, a Serbian parliamentarian from Vučić's party, tweeted on July 31st that Serbia will be forced to begin the denazification of the Balkans in reference to Russia's justification for its war in Ukraine. As the situation escalated, Vučić met with Serbia's general staff to discuss potential military options in response to provocations against Kosovo Serbs on July 31st. In response to this development, NATO's Kosovo force said it would intervene if Kosovo's stability is threatened. Eventually, Kosovo's government conceded to the Serbian demonstrators and agreed to postpone its ban on Serbian license plates on August 1st. Throughout Prishtina's dispute with Kosovo Serbs, Russian media flooded the information space with articles claiming that tensions were the West's fault, and several Russian officials voiced their support for Serbia. Russia's first deputy chairman of the Federation Council Committee on International Affairs, Vladimir Jabarov, said on August 1st that Russia can aid Serbia with military support if that will be necessary. Russian support for Serbia will continue to embolden Belgrade to rattle the saber and extract concessions from Kosovo, thus worsening the security environment for NATO's Kosovo force. In a way, Russia's support for Belgrade throughout its conflict with Kosovo turned Serbia into a little Russia, whose domestic stability is pegged to foreign policy victories. Like Russia, Serbia's path to democracy is obstructed by a centralized autocracy that has persecuted opposition figures, free press, and has established complete control of the judiciary. Additionally, Serbia's media environment is run by a handful of pro-Vučić tycoons that resemble the oligarchs which support Putin's regime. Both Russia and Serbia are bitter about the supposed division of their nations. Russia actually acted on this bitterness when it illegally annexed Crimea in 2014 and began a full-scale invasion of Ukraine on February 24th this year. Given Vučić's visit to the General Staff on July 31st and Đukanović's ominous tweet, militarist sentiment amongst Serbian officials over Kosovo is evidently increasing. Between backing Dodik and Bosnia and supporting the Kosovo Serbs, Russia successfully illustrated its ability to exploit sectarian divisions to freeze and intensify conflicts in the Balkans. Russia's malign activities in the Balkans are succeeding in unnerving the West and denigrating democratization in the affected Balkan states. As the Kremlin looks for ways to lash out against the West, meddling in the Balkans will continue to serve as a low-risk, high-reward opportunity for Russia to threaten Europe's security. Pro-Russian officials in Bosnia and Serbia will continue to advance Russian regional interests in exchange for diplomatic support.